I just stumbled upon one of my favorite cars ever, fittingly parked outside of a Volkswagen Audi repair shop. It's a 2008 R32. The first generation R32 was offered in the US for the 2004 model year, and it was based on the Mark IV Golf. This is based on the Mark V Golf, and it came to the US for 2008. Just like the Mark IV, only 5,000 of these were sold in the United States. It's called the R32 because under the hood is a 3.2 liter V6 engine. It's all-wheel drive, and it's got a 6-speed DSG dual-clutch automatic transmission. Could not get this vehicle with a manual. Only the DSG, which was a really, really good transmission. But at the time, it was just so new, you might even argue that it was ahead of its time. And it's one of the reasons that this vehicle is criticized. So it looks like this one doesn't have a navigation system. I'm pretty sure that was the only option available on this car. Otherwise, they were all pretty much the same. This generation R32 was offered in this cool blue color. Most of them were in this blue color, but there was also white, there was gray, and there were red. This one doesn't have the factory wheels. These are aftermarket wheels. But everything else is pretty much stock. All Mark V R32s have this cool center outlet exhaust. And given that it's a VR6 engine, it sounds really cool. Like I said, all-wheel drive. This car really wasn't a great performer on paper. It goes 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds, which really isn't that fast, even at the time. But it's really well balanced. It's borderline luxury car on the inside, like most VW performance cars. It's a lot nicer than the Subaru STI and Lancer Evolution that you would have got in 2008. But like I said, since it's a little heavy, it was kind of unique to drive. A lot of people will argue that the GTI is actually a better handler just because the 2.0 turbo engine under the hood of the GTI is just a lot lighter than the VR6. And then you've got the all-wheel drive system, which altogether makes this thing pretty heavy. But nonetheless, it's one of my favorite cars, I think, just because it's weird. Well, now that I can't stop thinking about used R32s, let's do a quick Autotrader search to see exactly how much one of these things is worth 10 years after it came out. I like to use this search page. I'm not worried about location, not really worried about price. I will specify from 2008 to 2008, just so that we only get Mark V 2008 models. Here I'll search Volkswagen, and then under model, remember that the R32 wasn't a Golf, wasn't a Rabbit, wasn't a GTI. It was considered its own model within the Volkswagen lineup, so we have to select specifically R32 right there. And then I'm not worried about mileage, I'm not worried about any of this stuff, just want to search. Okay, so it looks like there are a total of 53 of them listed. We'll make sure, yeah, so we're searching within an any mile radius, so nationwide. I'll change this to 75 so that we can see all of them on the same page. You can see here that we're sorted to display highest prices first, so we should expect to see lower mileage examples toward the top of the list here. A little background on the R32, it was only sold in 4 different colors in the United States. The most common was this blue color, which is my personal favorite. 43% of the 5,000 Mark V R32s were sold in blue. The second most popular color was this gray. 23% were gray. Third most common is white, which I'll see if I can find one here. White like this. That made up 22% of US sales, and then the least common color in the US is this red, and that made up 13% of sales. So I'm starting to see a trend here. It looks like as you get toward 100,000 miles, the price settles at around $10,000. This one's over 100,000 miles for close to 13,000. I think that one's a little steep. There's a lot of miles for 13,000. Yeah, I think these are all probably a little bit steep. But here's a good one. Red, which I think is probably the least desired color, just from what I see. But with 60,000 miles for just under 16,000, I think that's probably a pretty good deal. Here's another one, 64,000 miles for under 16,000. One thing to keep in mind with the R32 is that since it came with the DSG dual clutch transmission, you're looking at a DSG fluid change every 40,000 miles. So if you're looking at these, you'll want to inquire about that DSG fluid change and see if it's been done, see if it's been done consistently. And if it hasn't been done consistently, you'll probably want to avoid it. And if it's coming due, that might be a good bargaining chip when it comes to negotiating price. So let's see what the lowest mileage examples are going for here. Okay, so 46,000 for 21,000. I doubt we'll find one on here with fewer than 46,000 miles. These are in the 60s, 70, 80, 85, 90. Yeah, and as we get toward 100, that price drops to around $10,000. Scroll to look at it. Find a different grouping of listings here. Okay. So this one's definitely lowest mileage. 33,000 red for around $24,000. So yeah, I'm starting to see a trend developing here. I think it's probably safe to say that with an R32, all else equal, no modifications, you're probably looking at the high end of the market, low 20,000s, and for that price, you should be looking at fewer than 50,000 miles. And then as you get toward 100, 120,000, that price should get closer and closer to 10,000 before settling at around 8,000 or 9,000 for the higher mileage examples. Personally, I'd probably look for one with around 70 to 90,000 miles on it and expect to pay around $12,000 or $13,000. I think that's probably the sweet spot. I'd stay away from really high mileage R32 just because it is a high performance specialty Volkswagen, and there can be some issues that present themselves there. So anyway, yeah, I think that about explains the used 2008 Volkswagen R32 market here in 2018. And I should probably get off of here before I make a reckless decision. So thanks for watching.